Buck roll.
All right, I think we good right here. How's it going, everybody? It's Man Tomorrow here. I want to thank you guys for coming through. Here the one in the chat if you can be able to hear me quite audibly. Turn this headset up. Okay, all right. So what we're going to start off with first is how to argue, because people don't know how to do that. For some reason, people have been here 8, 9 years and they still don't know how to present their actual point. What I have on the screen here is Graham hierarchy of disagreement, how to argue. You were taught this, well, I was taught this in Community College of Aurora in the year probably 1999. This is why my arguments are irrefutable, unless I just flat out am wrong on a prediction like Kamala Harris winning the actual presidency, which everybody's wishing she had won at this point. So what we do is we start off at the bottom. There is a bottom three, and then there is a top four. When you're arguing with idiots online, the bottom four, name calling, ad hominem attacks, response to tone, that's the only way that they're locked into it. That's the only way they're locked into arguing with anybody, is the bottom three. Now, the reason why my arguments are convincing is, one, I know the background and the history of it. Two, I picked a side. Three, I live in an area where I actually picked a side. And most of the complaints from people online in the online space literally comes from the fact that they have no understanding of how the system works. Not only that, they have no interest in learning. The second thing is, upon not knowing the history, they haven't picked a side. Now, they expect more liberal things, but they don't have any type of investment in the liberal process. Their only level of investment is waiting there with their hands out, expecting everybody to do the work. So what you have is three things. You have zero participation mixed in with no understanding, mixed in with this learned helplessness of trying to live in areas that you're not really engaged in, and then expect everybody else in every other area that works to come to your rescue. I've always said the productivity piece served a couple of different functions here. Most of these individuals' complaints online have to do with a lack of resources. With a lack of resources, you're not going to have good outcomes. Yes, without having your stuff together, you're going to have the best access to the best complaints possible because everybody else's work seemed like it's 10, 15 years down the road when it should have been a consistent path upon thinking about it since you were 17 or 18 years old. Most of these people are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s and still haven't grasped anything of what's going on in society. They live in a liberal area, but they want to blame the liberal party for not doing everything that they need. They came to the internet to blame boomers, of all people, about the lack of things passed down to them in society. We know what you would have done with that system. We're seeing what you would have done with it right now. Most of these younger individuals are following most of these dumber individuals in this space, which is absolutely fine. Because when people start complaining about the black manosphere, it's always people with no side picked, no understanding, don't even understand how anything works, and they never have. But they have all this time to hang out online to talk to uninformed individuals about things that are going on in their society. And they live in these non-competitive areas too. They can't even produce a good congressman. The only thing they have is a liberal mayor at best. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this actual live stream here. And started trying to figure out, what are these actual people talking about? What are these actual people what's going on? Shout out to people who came here. All right, because I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to educate. And then upon this education, you're supposed to be changing things in your own life. I'm already at 7 figures. I already don't need this type of help. This is for your benefit, not mine. What's going on, Lil Rock? That Gianna, Steve Bishop. Eric Bird, Muddage, Keith Smith, and Mon Perry. All right. Put this up here. All right, hold on. That could be Nagone 11. Go, what's going on, man?
What's going on, MOT? What's up, man?
Oh, what's going on? If everybody can hear Nagone quite audibly in the chat, if not, if I need to turn them up, let me know before we get started so that way we can make sure that we hear you. Nagone loud and clear. Because I heard you loud and clear.
Yep, I hear you loud and clear as well.
All right. Okay, he is loud and clear. So let's take this up with this because with the transportation coming back online, I have to work more. Not a big deal to me. I love driving this time of year. Love it. Coast to coast, open highways. It's pretty good. 6 to 6 driving, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Trying to be off the road at 6 locally where I'm at. So what's going on, Nego?
Hey, man, now just going over this, this birthright citizenship piece. Looks like some folks are saying with pedestrians don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, I'm hearing some craziness coming from that side of the peanut gallery. So, we're here to kind of, keep things pretty clear.
All right. Because remember, I can play back your actual live streams and actually respond to it in total. So let's go to this first point here. Remember, my links stay dropped. You want to add me in something? You want me to come up there and stomp your face in? I could do that. And do not expect me to be nice to you, nor none of your personnel that I'm ever going to be with. So this first thing here is 41 to 48. Let's see how far down the land of ignorance we got to go to get this. Okay, 40. See how far down the land of ignorance we got to go. Oh, the guy got background.
Sorry.
All right, here we go. Let's put our little visual aid on the screen here. Hold on a second. All right. Let's see what's going on here.
There's a whole trade that goes on between West African and East Africans, right? With the guys, women, with white women in the power dynamic. Okay.
This dude don't even know what's going on in America, but he's going to help Africa with their actual gender dynamics over there. And remember, the gender war is for stupid people who's too dumb to actually focus on things that are actually happening in the country. So they want to actually put the focus off on non-perfect women. That's the reason why they're so caught up in not being a man, which ain't got nothing to do with you solving your own problems.
That's exactly correct.
Nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Black women could do the same thing. How come they don't?
Again, this is the black manosphere. Why the hell are we asking black women to do shit?
See, tons
I
of
don't
them.
know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
I do. It's
What's the
because
answer?
they have been socialized to it. They want what they want. Okay. But like the chicks. Anyway. Yeah.
White men say the same stuff you saying about
No, they
white
don't.
women.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they
No, they
do.
don't.
Yeah, they
No, they
do.
don't. No, they
They in the
don't.
manosphere saying the
No, they
same stuff.
no, they
These
don't.
women are too Western.
I, I,
That's why
I,
so many of
I,
them go.
I,
I'm still
where?
speaking for. That's why so many of them go to get East. What do you call it?
Eastern European.
Eastern European women. Yeah, lots of them. Lots of them. Come on now.
Wrong. I'll
It's
challenge that.
true.
We're moving
It's true.
on. As
Yeah,
as the
let's
title
let's
states,
please move on.
as my
I'm
title
sorry,
states,
AB. I'm sorry.
this is
I'm listening.
this is the big beautiful. We're going to be talking about the big beautiful
we
bill.
we don't even know how it's going to play out. In fact, most of the Democrats, Republicans have no idea how it's going to impact you.
They do know how it's going to impact. That's why the Republicans wanted a bailout bill to bail out these rural hospitals. They know how it's going to impact them. On top of Elon Musk trying to create this America party that's going to split the Republican vote even more than it is already now. This ain't going to end well.
It's not going to end well, and that's exactly why guys like Elon and them sat back and said, "This big beautiful bill is crazy. What are you guys doing?" They know exactly how this is going. They know how exactly this is going to uh,
Oh, yeah.
uh, um, um, play out. But anyway, MOT, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Michael, what's going on, man? Hold on a second while we get through with this, all right?
Impact your whatchamacallit. They have no clue. Okay,
Mm.
even
No, they
even
don't.
even all the leading economists that I listen to, they don't have an idea how this is going to impact. They're guessing. Okay, no.
Wrong. Real economists will tell you exactly what's happened. Republican economists are playing like they don't understand what's going on. So is the media. The media are playing like they don't understand what's about to happen. They know exactly what's about to happen.
They certainly do. That's why they're silent.
Yes. Because there is no way that you can sell this bill to anybody. There's no way you can cut 800 billion from Medicaid over 10 years once you list all the things that Medicaid does, and the cuts are going to come from somewhere. They say 1 in 4 actual nursing homes across the United States is going to close. To
and rural
close.
and rural hospitals as well.
Are going to close.
MOT, I got a question for you guys. Okay, just like the tax cuts in 2017, when Trump implemented them, the Democrats never repealed them. It's going to be the same thing with this. The continuity of government means that one party is expected to do one thing and the
Michael,
other.
Michael,
Yeah, go ahead.
this isn't a conversation about that. You want to have a conversation about that? We could do that at a separate time. This is about responding to this right here. Not trying to talk about everything else outside of this.
You're talking about the politics, right?
All right, man. Let's get this back.
Nobody knows. Okay,
Yeah, there's no solid answers out yet.
There's no solid answers about what's in the goddamn bill. And how it's going to affect you.
But you know, BTS, since we hate black women so much, let's hear what Savvy Sabs has to say about it.
The fuck does this have to do with the bill, bro? Who the fuck is Savvy Sabs? Well,
I know who that is. It's another black female. But anyway, go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. So they play a black woman talking and then they
Volume.
just respond to it. Okay.
That if you have not heard by now, it appears that the big, beautiful bill has passed in the House. And there was some hope there that Thomas Massie was going to be able to rally some of his Republican comrades to vote against that bill.
Yeah, all political theater. But anyway.
But in the final hours, unfortunately, all of them caved except for one. And
Okay, how is that political theater? If that's a Republican bill and all Republicans voted for it except for one person, that's not political theater. Now, political theater is people argue back and forth and they barely pass it by 1 or 2 votes. If all Republicans voted for it, it's a Republican bill. Flat out. And they added some stuff in there from the actual budget reconciliation process that was even worse than what the actual House added to it.
Bill was so bad, you have some Republicans now saying that are going to their governors of their state and saying, listen, you guys need to hold some of this stuff back because it's really going to hurt a lot of people in my district. So please don't let some of this go through and affect our state. All right. Even though I voted for it. I mean, this is insanity. This is madness that's actually going on.
But what they do is they play a black woman talking and then they respond to a black woman talking. Like, they don't have any analysis about anything. The only thing they're trying to do is gaslight their audience into hating what the black woman is saying on screen. And that's their kind of idea of politics, which I don't understand that type of nonsense at all.
It's crazy, but I see AV Media in the in the chat laughing. You're not gonna be laughing when they start cutting back on you, my man, and looking to shorten your lifespan. When this starts hitting on you, and with your issues and others like yourself, then there are many of them.
Oh man, he'll be all right, man. Don't worry about it.
When that starts to affect you, I don't think you're gonna be laughing too much. I don't think you're gonna find that funny. Old fool, huh? No, I think you're the fool, and you've shown yourself to be that on many, many occasions with your crazy one-eyed self looking like something out of I don't know what, but up in here talking crazy and voting against your interest. Now go ahead.
That is Fitzpatrick that did not cave. So Thomas Massie and Fitzpatrick decided to vote against it. So first of all, kudos to Thomas Massie and Fitzpatrick for doing that. But something needs to be said. It turns out the reason why they decided to cave, or one of the reasons why, is because they really wanted to stick it to the Dems. I'm going to say this again. One of the reasons why those votes that Thomas Massie had decided to cave is because they really wanted to stick it to the Dems.
Bullshit.
They're willing to sell out your health, your life, just to say ha ha at the Democratic Party. That's how unserious these people are. Congress is like high school. This is absolutely ridiculous. They're willing to sell out their own constituents, and I say theirs for a reason.
And you have to understand, they all voted for the bill with the exception of 2 people. So it's a Republican bill. That did happen. You can say a lot, you can interrupt, you can throw whatever at her, but at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Very true.
So the bill did pass. Well, rather than doing any analysis on what's being cut from the actual bill, which they can't do, they rather play a black woman talking and then disagree with what the black woman says and heckle her as she actually talks. It's not real analysis. What's going on, Mike B?
in order to stick it to the Democratic Party.
Bullshit.
What the hell is our government doing? Some of the things that this bill will do. Check this
My
out.
advice for Democrats is less hyperbole and more specifics on what people actually care about. Let me give you an example. Scott, you care a lot about the national park system.
Yeah,
Why do they always show MSNBC or CNN instead of going to C-SPAN, where you actually hear the actual Congress people talk about the goddamn thing? Okay, they did a whole 6.
Because they're doing analysis right now. Something that you can't do. They're doing analysis on what's done with people who have sides picked. They don't go to C-SPAN because they need to hear the interaction of the back and forth of the people on the panel who actually voted for the bill, who's surrogates for each type of thing. That's what's going on here. And I don't understand why he doesn't understand that, even though he plays a lot of Fox News, which ain't got nothing to do with analysis. But that's where we're at. What's going on, Mike?
Not much, man. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
What's up, man?
All right, man. Let's keep going here.
6 hours going over the whole bill, okay? And you showing CNN or CNN or
Oh, who did he say? Spend 6 hours? Hold on a second.
Will do. Check this
My
out.
advice for Democrats is less hyperbole and more specifics on what people actually care about. Let me give you an example. Scott, you care a lot about the national park system.
Why do they always show MSNBC or CNN instead of going to C-SPAN, where you actually hear the actual Congress people talk about the goddamn thing? Okay, they did a whole 6 hours going over.
It doesn't matter what the Republicans say. They voted for the bill. It doesn't matter what the Republicans talked about. All the horrible stuff is in the bill. The only people that you need to hear from is the people who didn't have a voice. Remember, the Republicans are in charge of the House, and they are in charge of the Senate. They spoke pretty loudly with passing the bill. You don't need to hear any more from them. The bill passed. What you don't hear is the Democrats' actual pushback of what's in the actual bill, because they didn't have enough votes to fight it, which is what these other shows are for. Why don't they play what happened on C-SPAN when the Republicans run the House? The bill passed already. Mike? Or to go?
Nope, that's exactly correct. I just want you to continue to break that down, but that is exactly correct what you just said.
Yeah.
With the whole bill, okay, and you showing CNN or CNN or MSNBC. Why?
Fits their narrative, is my guess.
This is a narrative.
Fits their narrative.
Yeah.
He's proposing a 1.2 billion cut to national parks. Since that's the most in the 109-year history of national parks. More
cuts, right?
Specifically, 20 people are being laid off on the Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky. 30% of Kentuckians are on Medicaid. 200,000 are going to be losing their Medicaid. 35 hospitals in Kentucky receive disproportionate Medicaid funding, and so they're going to be at risk. And 10% increase in utility bills Kentuckians are going to see. I think when you hear that, I think you're going to care a lot more than just hearing hyperbolic statements from Democrats. My advice for Democrats.
Now, he was talking directly to a Republican, which actually BGS was trying to stop you from understanding that. That's why they brought him on, so that way he can personally answer for the bill that he voted for and that his party voted for. Right? Disproportionate means a lot. I got a lot of family that live in Kentucky. Let me tell you, those people on Medicaid, damn near the whole state's on Medicaid outside the rich areas. Damn near the whole state outside of those rich areas. Outside of those agricultural areas, damn near the whole state is there. That includes people who are on the Kentucky version of the Affordable Care Act. That's what they mean by cutting Medicaid. All those Medicaid expansions so that way they can get health care, they're just quietly cutting that stuff out and not telling you that they're cutting, quote unquote, Obamacare for their actual state. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just saying, keep going.
Okay.
So that's a really good point that he brought up there. And it's what I've been trying to explain earlier on about this bill. The people that are going to be hit the most from this are voters in red states, not the voters in the blue states, because a lot of these policies, they're pushing it back to the states, right? So they're saying like, sorry, but if you make a certain amount if your state makes a certain amount of revenue or whatever, or uses this much amount of Medicaid, I went over the numbers before, then you're going to have to take care of that. The federal government isn't going to help you with this anymore. Okay, so the poorest states in this country are red states. It's not the blue states. What he said there about people that live in Kentucky, 100% true. People in Kentucky are going to suffer. So when I said Republican politicians voted against their own constituents, that's exactly what I'm talking about. When I talk about them cutting Medicaid, that is going to impact, again, predominantly red states. Rural hospitals is
We'll see.
also going to take a hit.
Go ahead.
So you're saying Republicans are so animated against Democrats, they're willing to basically vote themselves out of office by passing this bill? They're that stupid. That's what you're saying.
I think they're scared of Trump more than anything.
No, they're not scared of Trump. Okay.
To your statement, BGS, I add this in the immortal words of Bill Engvall. Here's your sign.
What does that even mean? She just made a statement that said, and she's not wrong, by the way. A lot of these people who have been, kind of over the top with over relying on the federal government to make up their budget shortfalls while they give tax cuts in their states. I'm talking to you, the South, Arkansas, Alabama, Kentucky, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, North and South Carolina, West Virginia, Indiana, Texas, not to mention the Dakotas, Kansas, Montana, Idaho. Yes! A lot of these states that don't give a whole bunch to the federal government is over-reliant on Medicaid. But somehow she's wrong because she's saying it, and you guys can't even provide enough analysis to debunk what she actually said. What she said is 100% true.
And they didn't even read the bill themselves.
No, of course not. They didn't even cover the bill.
No.
So it's like, all right, so the reason why the media is not saying anything, because the tax cuts are going into their pockets. And since they're controlled by multinational corporations who actually pay these people not to actually cover things, this is what you got. You have an information embargo going on about basic things that are happening in this country that is actually going to affect people. That's almost like there's an embargo on covering an actual hurricane, and the people in the path in it is not going to get coverage because there ain't going to be any help for them. That's what that is. It's kind of an information embargo against the actual people who's going to be greatly affected by something that just happened. Unbelievable. Let's see what else we got here.
Mm-hmm. Does that not fit in this situation?
Yeah.
In a place like where I live in Boston, no. That's going to be a problem.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It irritates me that people that are supposed to be in the freaking know don't do their freaking homework. It irritates the shit out of me.
He's talking about the people on the panel. He's gaslighting you people on the panel. He's not talking to her. He's talking to the dummies on the panel. And I'm not talking about May. He's talking to he keeps gaslighting you to your face that you haven't read the bill. You don't know what's going on. You simply are playing a black woman. And you can't even refute her points. You can't even really refute May's points either. But at the end of the day, you got these yups who come on because, don't nobody allow them to talk in the real world. They treat them like white dweebs. They shut their microphone off as soon as possible when we start hearing these people start talking. But at the end of the day, nothing of what she said is wrong. Nothing. The blue states like Colorado really, they're really not even being affected that much because we bring so much money in because we are now going to put in the sweet tax. That's right. If it affects things too much, we're just going to bring up that actual soft drink and candy tax, 10% on that. And that's going to pay for the actual health care and everything else within people within the actual state. You find ways to make up this budget shortfall.
That's exactly, we have the same thing going here in New York. But then again, when you look at our states, we are talking about some of the wealthiest states, certainly in the union, that actually help to pay for, as you and I know, and we've said it many times here, as well as Mike would know, because we talked about that many times on the Brain Trust. These states basically help to cover the bills for these red states that are going to have tremendous shortfalls. Now, when this bill really starts to come into being and really starts to come into play, how do you think these red states and so forth are going to fare in states like Illinois and some of these other states that are going to have some tough shortfalls that people that we know that are in this chat room right now live in, who are going to be affected, and some of y'all are going to die from this?
All right, man. Let's go to the next point here. Let's go to 2 hour mark.
Finish playing that clip, LT.
Okay, it looks like we got 15 or 18 more seconds, but
Schweikert has been talking about it. She has not had David Schweikert on her show not one time in the 3 years that I've known her, okay?
Not once.
If you want to know how the budget works and how
come you haven't had Schweikert on your show?
The money works and how things can be worked out, okay? You need to talk to David Schweikert. Nobody wants to talk to him because all the liberals are scared of his ass because they don't have no answer for him.
Here's the thing. There's no such thing as a conservative economist, okay? Economist is an economist is an economist. Their economist is Thomas Sowell, and he talks about race issues. All these quote-unquote conservative economists, they give very nice feedback for corporate America. They support corporate America. They don't care about people. They've never cared about people. None of these conservative economists are about that. The conservative economists that he plays are really not for average, everyday working class whites, let alone blacks. But see, he has to be so anti-BW that he has to side with the conservatives while living in a liberal state and pretending that they are somehow fighting for a cause that he's a part of. And that's just not true either.
Without actually verifying the source of the information that David Schweikert is putting out.
You know, he's just right because he's Schweikert.
Right.
And to these yup-yups in the panel, they just go around and just drop Schweikert in the middle of conversation to make it seem like they're actually informed on things, even though they don't even know what that guy is.
It's a clout chase. It's a clout chase because if you actually do your own research, you wouldn't rely on David Schweikert in the first place. But you don't actually, you didn't actually look at the bill. You didn't do your research. You didn't understand that Republicans control the White House, the Senate, and the House. You didn't do your research. You didn't understand that Democrats had nothing to do with this. Most Democrat-run states have their own functional and flourishing healthcare systems. Massachusetts, California, Colorado, New York. These systems have been in place probably since Obama has been in office.
Yes, so it was. It's called Cover Colorado. That's what our Medicaid is called. Cover Colorado.
Yeah. And so these systems have had at least 2 to 3 presidential cycles to mature. So they don't necessarily need that. But if you are a black person in a red state, you are disproportionately impacted by the cut.
Yes. Oh yes.
And these fools come in here, make ridiculous statements. That's why you put up these videos, low information voters, and these people don't seem to look at what they even are voting, or probably not even voting for, because a lot of them don't vote. But for those who do, are voting on very low information and not looking at even what their real interests really even are, which is very scary. And they're backing this up and saying vote blue no matter who, and the butthurt blue. I mean, you cannot make this up. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. The dumbest people whose lives are on the line are sitting here following that.
Indiana has at least 12 hospitals right now that they
They're
announced
closing.
Friday that are going to be closing due to the bill itself. Indiana, right? Conservative controlled state, no Democrats in charge. How do you explain that Democrats could have done something, or Democrats didn't put up a fight when Democrats don't have a majority in either the House, the Senate, or the White House at all? Even in a state like Indiana, Democrats are not in control. So unless you want to talk about like South Bend or Indianapolis, but that's not the totality of the state itself.
Nope. And the Democrats did not vote for this.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll see.
I was thinking that, and I was going to ask you, are they scared to talk to him? You just confirmed what I was thinking.
And guess who his biggest fan is in Congress? Chip Roy.
Wow. Who thinks Chip Roy is an intellectual heavyweight of what? Who thinks that?
Chip Roy, the same Chip Roy, conservative House member who outlined the fact that there's some feedback coming from somebody who outlined the fact that Republicans controlled all three branches of government in 2018 and did absolutely nothing. You don't believe me? Go to Chip Roy's page when he's given the Republican Party, the establishment itself, a tongue lashing and criticism of their weak performance in 2018. So the idea that Democrats should have did something, they didn't have control in 2018. So during the tax cuts, the first initial tax cuts under the first administration, who knew?
Yeah. See how much more of this we got.
Wow.
Basically, a lot of this crap that came up about the budget and all this kind of stuff, he took on like 30 Democrats, man. They all took their shots at it, all went home with their tails between their legs because they didn't know what the hell they were.
If you have enough votes to pass the bill, what's the argument about? The bill passed. They won. Without niggas. They didn't need y'all help. They passed the bill. They didn't come to BGS. They didn't come to the Manosphere. They didn't come to any of that stuff. They passed the bill. Why would there be a back and forth between Democrats and Republicans when the Republicans had enough vote to pass the bill in the House?
2018.
So, Chip Roy taking on 40 Democrats, what are you talking about? There's no real reason for him to open a point of order of discussion when you have enough votes for the bill. But for the yup, for the yup-yups, the Nickelodeon at night crew, it sounds good. It sounds like, man, Chip Roy is the guy. He's fighting for us. Chip Roy doesn't care about you. He's a conservative. He doesn't care about people who don't pay him. And he's making it look like all this fighting's happening because these people have no understanding of how the process works. So they think all this fighting's happening because they look at it in the terms of like a UFC fight. Oh, well, look at this back and forth, all this grappling and this ground and pound. Like, no, none of that's happening. You have enough votes to actually vote for the bill. You bring the bill up for vote. The yays, the nays have it.
And they only needed 4 Republicans to vote against it, and not one Republican voted against it.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like he's making it look like all this stuff's happening when they had enough votes to pass the bill. That's why it's passed. Now, if it didn't pass, it would be a different conversation. But the bill passed. And they used budget reconciliation in the Senate so that way they can use the 50-vote margin to pass that. Because it's a budgetary-based bill, which is the only type of bill that you could pass with budget reconciliation. That's why it passed the Senate. Didn't need the 60-vote threshold.
They were talking about, okay? Did I not tell you guys? And I tell you guys, if they wanted to balance this budget, okay, it's going to be on the backs of what? Medicare and Medicaid, right?
Medicare and Medicaid. You called this. You asked.
But that's been their plan for the last 50 years. You can't bring this up like this is something that you predicted.
It's unbelievable.
What did you predict it when you was 15? Like, come on, dude. Like,
this is unbelievable.
Oh, Look, George W. Bush thought he was going to balance the budget the same exact way because he had all this quote unquote political capital after he had won the election. And it turns out he couldn't even get it done. But right now, these rabid sycophants voted for the actual bill. Now they want to bail out from the actual bill that they voted for.
And in 1995, it was Newt Gingrich who was one of the hawks on cutting the on doing tax cuts back then.
That's exactly right.
On spending. So it didn't start with the manosphere. Okay? I mean, contrary to popular belief, it didn't start with the manosphere. I'm sorry to tell you.
It's just ridiculous, man. That's why I look at some of the stuff and I just shake my
They
head.
don't even realize that. A reasonable man. They don't even realize that he's refuting his own argument to their face while pretending like he's for and against the same argument. Like he's doing this Sperling thing right now where he go over here and pretend that he's ADOS and then he come over here and pretend like he's with the Latinos and Afro-Latinos. Like, dude, you were just talking shit about those people 5 minutes ago. Come on, man. All right, man. So let's see how much else of this nonsense that we can take before we move to the next segment.
I got to hear most sensitive programs.
And the thing is, the way I think they're going to do. Well, we have to see if it remains to be seen because you never know about these people because you have idiots that are in office. Okay, true. They're going to have to go. They're going to have to hit they're going to have to hit the pharmaceuticals. They're going to have to take a whack. Okay.
What are you talking about? They're the ones who didn't get cut. The cuts ain't for them. Why would you even say that the pharmaceutical companies is about to take a cut when they're the ones who funded this bill in the first place?
It was Trump who gave the pharmaceutical companies in the first term $3 trillion in the first place.
God,
that was Operation Warp Speed. That was
Warp
Trump's whole
Speed.
thing.
That's exactly correct. That was to get those what was it the vaccines and all stuff out early on before. So
and then he ran against the vaccine that he funded. He funded the vaccine, and then he ran against it.
And allowed all the M&As to take place, the mergers and acquisitions. That's why you saw Johnson & Johnson and all these other big tier 1 companies swallowing the smaller ones, the life science companies. That's how they were able to consolidate and not pay any taxes at all. That was the tax cut for 2017.
Yeah,
that's correct. That's correct. But
he predicted this. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Dude, he predicted it all, man. While we're talking. We could just play his voice. No, he knows everything.
And then what's going to happen is they're going to have to start automating medicine, okay? Like the Chinese do already. That's going to reduce your budget, okay? You got, what I think Kennedy said, you got $5 trillion a year in medical costs, okay? You got $5 trillion a year in medical costs, okay? Your Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare and Medicaid is the biggest budget item that the federal government has to deal with.
These are insurance programs that people have paid into.
Why is he talking about automating it?
I don't know where the automated shit come in at. What's going on, Craig? You talk that for the $2 super chat. Like, okay, so like he's trying to mix the AI talk in here, but it doesn't matter when you're dealing with a bunch of personnel, and it's like, okay, so this has nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with this. This is what you're looking at. This is what you're listening to. A guy who they don't know. They don't know. They don't know. They just get on the panel, a whole bunch of yups, and this is what they talk about. And to them, it's a thumb in the eye of people, right? We don't know what we're talking about, so we're just going to sit here and watch it burn. It's like, dude, you burning with it. No, dude, you burning with that.
Well, he's in California.
Yeah, a totally liberal state that is already taken care of. Of course he would live there. He's not part of the process. Why would he be in a state where you have to do some actual work? No. He ain't gonna do that. All right, let's see how much else we got here.
You talked about this quite a few times.
I did it. And the thing is, I said, watch. I said, watch and see. The only place they can cut is Medicare, Medicaid.
Medicaid.
What is he talking about in this big, beautiful bill?
He's talking about the money about him and his friends about to take home. and balancing it on the backs of Medicare and Medicaid. They
13
call. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just about to say the 13 billionaires standing behind him at the inauguration weren't there for nothing. That's what the bill is about.
That was the tech bros. You saw it. They're standing right there.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose of having JD Vance as the VP. That was their gateway into the White House itself.
Man.
But
all right.
I want to hear how he predicted automating medicine.
Man, I have no idea, man.
Oh my God.
Amazon can't even automate medicine, so I have no idea what he's talking about. Let's go to this 2-hour mark. Let's go a minute before, just in case we miss some context here.
As I said of Bill Engvall, dear Jalen Rose's daughter, here's your sign. Now, let's
hold on a second, dude. Didn't we just hear this dumb motherfucker say this an hour and fucking 45 minutes ago, and he just came out with it again? Unbelievable.
Police Academy.
Pause for about 30 seconds on that statement.
Police Academy.
So what these idiots actually do, they go to TikTok, they listen to black women talk, and then they just talk over them, and that's actually political dialogue for them. Yeah, I can't bear to hear that.
He said Donald.
Now let's pick on the butthurt blues for a little bit.
How are we the butthurt blue when the blue areas that we live in work?
Well, he's getting ready to see what's getting ready to come down on him.
Nagone. Don't your blue area of New York work?
Works pretty well.
Mike V, does your blue area of Massachusetts work?
Works just fine.
All right. Does Colorado, the blue area of Colorado, which I am in right now, works just fine? Now, it doesn't work outside the Denver metro area, but inside the Denver metro area works just fine. So let's see what these dummies have to say.
Shut up! Now that song's in my head again. Damn it!
I ain't gonna play it again, but this is basically
now that song's in my head again.
The specific butthurt blues I'm talking about. All they know how to do is take clips from me and BGS and other people's streams and play them again.
Set them out there for the world to see just how dumb and idiotic y'all are. And you can't really refute it because you can't even refute the points to which you're trying to respond to online. So we know you can't refute our points. So the problem is that most of these people come online to politically heckle. Like they can't do it in real life in their actual city because you show up there on a heckling joint and next thing you know the police are removing you from there and you're going viral for looking stupid. But their idea of fighting is coming online, live streaming, and just playing black women talking there in your face, Keisha. Like that's our idea of politically fighting. But let's see what these dummies have to say.
You did not get clipped, did you?
The thing is, you can't.
He got clipped.
No, but the double. I saw this 4th of July. The last 4th of July, no, but the double flags. There was like a bunch of Mexican and American flags. Now all I see is
Wait a minute,
American
what
flags.
the fuck?
Yeah, because they're gonna deport your ass for flying that Mexican flag.
That's all. That's it, and that's all.
That's what.
Yeah, all those new flags, they are disappearing. Oh,
that's
man.
why you have to watch. You have to. A lot of stuff that Donald Trump sounds dumb on the surface. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not only the stupid shit that he said, Donald Trump is so dumb. He does dumb things until you see the reaction to it. Okay. There's always a means to an end.
My big beautiful bill.
Which the thing is, you can't pass without Congress. Okay, it's not just him.
Congress has got to vote on it.
Yeah,
and they're the ones that got to pass it.
What a lot of Republicans are doing, a lot of even conservatives are doing, they're actually hiding behind Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Blaming it on him.
Yeah, Democrats now too, because they could have done a whole bunch of stuff to hold the bill up, but they didn't do it. So whatever.
No, because they agree with it. Okay, they agree with it.
MOT, pause right there, man.
Okay, so now he's on both sides of the arguments. So he agrees with our criticism. He starts off with the Republican criticism, big up in them. You know, Chip Roy supposed to have taken on 40 Democrats and won, and now he's agreeing that this is what they always wanted to do in the first place, which is the 50-year track record in history of the actual Republican Party. What's the problem here? But don't worry about it, Mike, because BGS predicted it.
He said that, you know, Democrats agree with this. Democrats voted against this, right?
Not a single Democrat voted for the bill.
Yeah, if you look at the numbers, Democrats voted against it. So how are you saying that they agreed to this? How are you coming to that conclusion? Does he even know who controls Congress and the Senate right now? Does he not understand that?
I don't think he wants to understand it.
That's why we listen to these guys talk, man. It's just, what are you guys talking about? Are you looking at the numbers here?
But see, that's why I did the low information series.
Absolutely.
Low information voter series. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The low information voter series is predicated on these conversations that says something like, as an example, in Exhibit S, that Democrats agree with this, right? Even though they voted against it, they agree with it. Make it make sense. That's called misinformation. You're sitting on a panel misinforming people about factual information, or that information that can't be proven as factual, right? And so this is very simple. All you have to do is go look up the legislation itself, or the votes for the legislation or the bill itself, and it would have told you who agreed to this and who did not agree to this.
Mike, let me make a prediction.
Instead of talking about Lisa Murkowski in Alaska, who got the carve out, and how, you know, why she got the carve out, because you're going to lose Alaska if you did something like this. Okay. In fact, you're going to lose a whole lot of Republican states. You're setting yourself up for a blowout in 2026. They know this. Trump knows this. The rest of Republicans know this, and they know they have to get on board, or else they probably get whacked too, you know, by the rest of them, by the White House. So May is right that they're afraid of Trump.
Yeah. Everybody knows that they're afraid of Trump. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
That's a fact. But we do see now we have Republican congressmen and senators saying, hey, they're trying to talk to their governors about what they can do to kind of help things go right in their districts right now because of this bill.
After they voted for it.
And they voted for it.
You had Marjorie Taylor Greene come out and say, I voted for it and I didn't even read it.
Well, then again, that's Marjorie.
No, but I'm saying this is a Republican that said this. It wasn't a Democrat. It was a Republican that said this. They voted against their own interests. Georgia has lost, and maybe Amiri in the chat can probably confirm this. They've lost a dozen hospitals just since the midterms, right? Everybody knows that the way Georgia is set up, is specifically Atlanta and that Fulton County area, you got to drive an extended amount of time to get to an hospital, okay? And you're talking about an ambulance ride? Oh. Yeah, you stick in folks with $1,200, $1,500 expenses that they don't have anymore because they've been kicked off of the rolls.
And that's going to happen all across these red states, and you're going to see, you know, it's kind of unbelievable what they're doing, but they really are gutting. They're gutting middle America. That's
yes,
what
they are.
Done. 4 tax cuts for the rich. That's essentially what has happened. And then you have these idiots coming in here talking about, hey, you guys vote blue the battery. You have these fools coming in here not even looking at what this really means across the board. They haven't read it. They have not understood.
Look at this. Indiana news. These 12 rural hospitals could be at risk under Trump's big, beautiful bill. Look who can cover stuff in their state. Yeah. Is AB Media talking about this? I don't think he's talking about this, is he? Oh, no.
You know, this is a good point, MOT. Primarily because those nonprofit rural hospitals rely on federal investment.
Federal dollars. That's exactly
Yes,
right,
they
Mike.
do.
Good.
Yes, they
And so
do.
the idea that, you just heard AB Media on the panel say, this big, beautiful bill, he's, taking it as a joke. But in reality, there are hospitals closing as we speak since the bill was announced that they won't be able, because they have to forecast for the next fiscal year that they're not going to have any dollars coming in, any federal dollars coming in. You compound that. Just read the not the headline, but the subtitle under it. The first paragraph is some lawmakers fear that at least a dozen rural hospitals in Indiana are at risk due to Medicaid budget cuts proposed in President Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. Right? If you cut Medicaid, which is what those hospitals rely on, how do you think they're going to fund themselves?
Yeah.
You kick 20 million people off of those off of Medicaid in these red states. What do you think the outcome is going to be in Arkansas when a tornado hits and they don't get any FEMA dollars coming in?
Well, they've already done huge. Yeah, exactly. They've already done massive cuts on this FEMA. FEMA's done, and you've got right now. You have this through Texas and some of these other states. You have these big floods. These other storms that have come through. People getting killed, getting wiped out. No dollars for that, and you don't see the media covering it that much. They're keeping a lot of stuff kind of quiet, but this is the kind of disaster that this bill really is going to represent, and I'm just, when this fallout starts coming down, this is going to be heavy. This is going to be very heavy. But these fools are out here talking about vote blue no matter who and all this and butthurt blue and all that. This is kind of hard to believe. But if you're ignorant, ignorance is bliss. I get it.
All right, so let's go to Arkansas. Let's see what Arkansas has to say on this. Almost look like it's the same. It almost looks like it's the same as the headline from Indiana. What do you know? The Arkansas Democrat Gazette, which is not a Democratic newspaper, by the way. Yeah. They're cutting back rural health care in these rural. He's balancing the budget on the backs of the people who majority vote Republican. And using that money that's being saved for tax cuts for him and his rich buddies.
But don't worry, black women getting laid off, is going to be a come up for black men.
Yeah. And all these jobs is going to be open because of these people getting kicked out of the country and whatnot. Black men about to come up.
And we know this is going to hurt middle America very much and so forth. But when it comes to the black community, it's going to be hitting us very hard as well. And people that are on dialysis and other things like that, our treatments and all these folks are going to be at risk. And people talk about butthurt blue. These are some of the dumbest folks I've ever you can imagine. I'm sorry. Go ahead, MOT. I apologize. Go ahead.
Here we go. Another state, my home state. The Mississippi Free Press is saying the exact same thing. Now, black people are already primed not to get health care, but from Delta Regional Medical Center, which nearly kills every single person that walked through those doors on average. But the real hospitals, the minute clinics in these areas, these places are closing. It's from the Associated Press. Warns of hospital closure after Trump's bill passes. Again, this is going to hurt rural America. They came for rural America on this one. Okay, that's Mississippi. Let's now go to Alabama. And he named it the Big Beautiful Bill. These dudes are going to be so screwed.
It reminds me of Dre Day. Luke's bending over, Luke's getting stuck.
Buster Muster. Thought it was sleazy because I used to hang with Easy. Again, all of these headlines look the same because all of the results are hitting these areas that don't give anything to the actual budget in these areas.
Look at South Carolina. Take a look there.
Yeah.
Take a look at South
Alabama.
Alabama.
Alabama. Boom.
We're right
Alabama's
Mississippi.
Yeah. Not even a paragraph in, they're talking about the rural hospitals that's going to be closing. Not even a paragraph in. You know what? It's the same for Georgia. It's the same for North and South Carolina. It's the same for Indiana, which we've shown before. West Virginia. Rural Pennsylvania. Stuff's going to be closing there. And that's just rural Pennsylvania. Right? You know, you got, Ohio, stuff closing down there. Indiana, we already seen about that. Yeah, a lot of these conservative places are about to lose their health care coverage that they got under Obamacare, even in these blue areas.
Well, this is pretty scary stuff, really, when you look at it across the board for the country, and it's going to affect pretty much most of America. This is going to be a big hit. So it's going to be very interesting to see what we do in the midterms. But this is not going to work out well for a lot of people. And for those who are out here talking about butthurt blue and all, it ain't going to work out too well for them either. So I'm just wondering, what some of the thought process is here.
It also cuts Pell Grants, for education as well. And so when you start talking about Black men relying on Pell Grants to get to school, I mean, for all the talk about, Black men self-improving, trying to go back to school. Well, it's going to be kind of hard to go back to school when, your Pell Grants have been cut. It's going to be kind of hard, to get into those vocational learning tracks when, those programs has been cut on the federal side, the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps and
that's right.
Job Corps.
Job Corps.
45% of Job Corps is actually made up of Black men or black people for that matter.
Yes.
Right. The very institution that Black people rely on, outside of college education, traditional college education, is being cut. And these guys are thinking that this is great. And the management is thinking this is great.
Every single person who dropped out of high school, where I was at, they all went to Job Corps. Every single one of them. That's how they got their life back on track. Yeah. Every single person.
Yeah, you got your GED. You got a good skill set, and it was paid for.
That's exactly right. And because you're investing in your people there. Yeah. Also your programs for Black business and Black business funding and minority businesses and so forth. All that stuff that we got. What have we gotten since the last 60 years? All these programs that you have are all getting cut back to the fat meat, where you're trying to become independent in business and other things. You're gonna be getting hammered out of here. So this is very serious, and it doesn't work to our advantage. But these idiots are sitting back here, lauding this bill as if it's something good. So I say,
and pretending like they're winning. Pretending like they're winning because other people are hurting.
These folks are crazy, and it's going to affect you. You think you're part of the 1%, laying up there on some type of you on dialysis, laying somewhere, or are you in a heart machine, or you're laying, you torn out the frame, laying up somewhere with your shit ripped. You one of them? What's wrong with these people? What's wrong?
No. They want a new artificial bottom where they don't have to work and be at the bottom. So in this new system, they're already at the bottom, so it doesn't mean anything. These are not working class people who we're talking about here. We're talking about the beneficiary work, ride everybody's back class people. Well, let's keep going here.
I mean, there's so much in that bill, man. I said I don't even want to get into what's in it and all this little.
But your dumb ass should though.
He hasn't read it.
Your side passed the bill. That means you should cover it. Remember, you didn't want black women in charge. Like, dude, they was running up the score on black men pretending that having a conservative party in charge was going to help these dudes out with something. Now the only thing these dudes got left is, well, you know what? We should have stuck it to the Democrats. Yeah, you stuck it to everybody else too. Oh, wait, well, you know what? I would cover it, but yuck, yuck. I'd rather talk about women. Oh, okay. All right, well, let's keep going.
Nigga.
So, BGS, where's the low information? I mean,
this was low information.
Mayday. The plane is going the fuck down.
What is that term called in flight school? Controlled descent?
No. Control flight into terrain.
Yeah.
What? This is unreal. How do you say, Mike? Unreal. This is unreal.
Let's finish playing.
Gosh, and did they? They
yeah,
did not say that.
The title of the video is Low Information Voter Exhibit S.
Things that's in it.
Oh yeah.
Don't blame you.
Trump is taking away medical care from women and children with Medicaid.
No shit. That's what this bill does.
Say, oh my God.
Well, what did I tell you guys before you even took office? Right? They're going. The only way they have to reduce the budget is go after what? Medicare, right?
Mm-hmm.
Medicare, Medicaid. Yep.
Well, we say fuck the kids. We meant that's all.
What?
Fuck them
It's
kids,
spending, but it's an insurance program. They're supposed to spend money on healthcare when it's an insurance program. They think of it as an entitlement. No, actual tax cuts is an entitlement. You can get by just fine in society without multinational, already profitable companies getting tax cuts. If people can't afford healthcare due to capitalism not paying them enough to actually afford healthcare, you can't get by in society without having poor people's health insurance. That's what Medicaid is. Poor people's health insurance.
And Medicare is for seniors.
Yes.
Medicare is for seniors.
And Medicare
in case they didn't know the difference. They didn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Kids use Medicaid too.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. Medicaid Advantage is not Medicare. Medicare Advantage is not Medicare. Medicare pays for things. And it used to pay for everything. Now there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to damn Z with the Medicare coverage through Medicare Advantage. And guess who was on the board of Medicare Advantage? That's right. Dr. Mehmet Oz. That's the person who they put in charge of Medicare. Not like he's going to make any money from this. And it's like, dude, how is it that y'all don't even see this stuff coming? I don't know. But as you can see, they don't talk directly about the bill. They just spread misinformation about what has happened with the bill. Unreal. Let's keep going here.
It's not even about kids, okay? Kids will always get taken care of, okay? Congress will make sure.
Through Medicaid.
Through Medicaid.
At maximum. At maximum through Medicaid, they're always taken care of. They just don't take care of kids just to be taken care of. All right?
For that. The thing is, how would the stipulations in that bill affect you on the ground? Nobody knows until you actually put it on the ground. Nobody knows, okay?
Yeah.
And the thing is,
didn't you say that? Didn't you repeat that earlier tonight, BGS?
Pockets.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where the real money is, but do they have the nerve enough to actually do that? We'll see.
We will see. Before quick update, Caitlin Clark out for tomorrow afternoon.
Why are you talking about Caitlin Clark in the middle of an actual budget proposal bill discussion, sir?
Straight Michael Winslow from Police Academy. I'm telling you, man. beatboxing and making all sorts of sound effects.
This dude just comes off a mute and just says the most random shit that ain't got nothing to do with the fuck we talking about. BGS, solar flare incoming in 13 minutes, son. Like, what the fuck is this nigga talking about? The discussion was about Medicaid, not Caitlin Clark not showing up to work tomorrow. God damn.
Oh my God. Doing against the Sparks. And they kept that in their clip?
Yes.
And I figured they're going to hold her until after the All-Star break.
Okay.
I think she'll probably make an appearance in the All-Star game. That's probably what they're saving her for.
Yeah, they're saving her for the All-Star
How
game
do you
so she
go
can
from
make a quick
talking about
appearance and then get a
the
couple
big,
of
beautiful
Man,
bill to talking about Caitlin Clark?
Look, showing up to work, bro. What is going on? Like breaking dumb nigga news in the middle of our healthcare discussion. Caitlin Clark isn't showing up to work tomorrow, dumb niggas.
They go from curly fangs to Caitlin Clark. Yo, this shit is ill. This shit is ill.
Breaking news on the Nickelodeon network. Caitlin Clark isn't showing up to work tomorrow. Back to you, BGS. Back to you, sir.
Straight attention deficit disorder, like a motherfucking what in the fuck? Squirrel.
What is happening?
Christ, 21st century is happening right now, and these guys, this guy's cutting to Caitlin Clark.
Oh Jesus! Oh yeah, I gotta go on mute. This is too much.
Kids can't get health care. Breaking news. Breaking dumb nigga news. A dumb nigga news exclusive. Caitlin Clark isn't coming to work tomorrow. Good Lord.
From pearly fangs to Caitlin Clark, man. Yo, you can't make this stuff up, man. You can't.
What is going on?
And this is supposed to pass as
oh Lord.
This is supposed to pass as intellectual discourse. You can't make this stuff up, man.
Oh boy.
Like man, and this is what people have turned the space into. They have turned the space into this so that way they can have a seat at the dumb nigga table to talk. That's all they wanted to do was dude, they're like opening their faceplate and talking about this shit in the wide open.
Oh my God, Jesus!
Open mouth, brain on display. Unbelievable.
Yeah, like wait a minute, is that his tonsils or that dude's brain? What is going on here?
Oh, anyway, go ahead, MLP, please. Go ahead.
Please rest and then get back to it.
The thing is, we don't know how serious the groin injury is, and they won't tell us.
You mean they kept that? They wanted to demonstrate low information voter. They wanted to make a low information voter exhibit, and somehow I got caught in that.
No, sir. You have surpassed low information voter with the shit that you brought in, interrupting the low information voter content. You came in with even lower information about Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
lower
expectations.
Yes, lower information voter content. You came in to interrupt the dumbest nigga conversation with even a dumber nigga conversation in which I was having. God.
Oh boy. Oh my God.
Oh my God, man.
You have to hear this stuff in order to believe it, man. And you have to laugh so you don't cry, man. This stuff is unbelievable, man.
It's unreal.
You got these walking DNRs, man. These dudes already been unplugged. They still walking around, bro. They still walking.
But they spent all this time, right? Last year, they spent all this time running a disinformation campaign against the Black Brain Trust about vote blue no matter who, and how, we're butthurt, and Kamala, she didn't get in, and that was our person. We never even promoted her, right? We just covered the facts as it was on the table, and this is the end result, right? And so this is really important to understand, MOT, for your audience. Kamala Harris was not supposed to lose, okay? Was not. Yeah, by their standards, she was not supposed to lose, right? Because the idea was to put all of the grievances at the foot of this black woman in the White House. And because she lost, they don't know what else to cover because their guy won and he's doing all the damage. You see, last year around this time, when Biden decided that he was going to drop out and endorse his VP, there was also talks about conflict with Iran. Okay. This same guy got on a panel and was so concerned about World War III. And I'm so concerned about my kids and I'm so concerned about the future. Okay. None of it ever happened under Biden. Now you got this guy in office and he's actually bombing Iran. And there's no talk, no coverage about how you're so concerned about your kids and the future of your family and all this other stuff.
At all.
Nothing to talk about. But he predicted this, right? You know, if he was a rapper, he would be Black Sheep. I predicted this, and I predicted that. I predicted this, and I predicted that. I predicted this, and I predicted that. And, you know, super chat number 9. I'm telling you, man, like, that's the low information aspect that you have to understand. Why I did the low information voter series, because this is the death of intellectual discourse that happens in the manosphere. These guys sat up here all this time. Okay, that's a 3-hour stream, but these guys sat up there all this time talking about, you know, big beautiful bill. Never even looked at the bill. Chip Roy, David Schweiker. They never even looked at any of the information that these guys were presenting. They never verified any of the information. But
of course not.
Right. But see, the Black Brain Trust was doing this all last year. You can go back and go through the material. When we covered Trump at the Chicago Economic Forum, and he was talking about tariffs, and you had actual economists in the room challenging Trump on what a tariff was, right? He had no idea how tariffs actually work. He just wanted to do it anyways, right? But this is what Black men are getting behind, is my point. Black men are getting behind this sort of administration, people who supported Robert F. Kennedy for president and pointing at Kamala Harris as if she was unqualified, but this guy who never ran for office, whose own family didn't back him, is somehow qualified. More qualified than she was. But he couldn't even break 5% of the vote, but she broke, 46% of the vote, and yet she's unqualified, but this guy is qualified, and he can't even answer whether or not Medicaid or Medicare, he doesn't know the difference, how it's impacting, people in health and human services.
Of course not. And he can't cover it because most of his political dialogue is based on him not understanding the political dialogue and leading these people in concentric circles so that way they can talk about the black woman. But before we go forward, man, we got to play a visual representation for y'all.
Transit line. If my train goes off the track, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Back on the scene, crispy.
That's what he's like, man. Every single live stream. Back on the scene, trolling this woman.
I'm telling you, man. Oh man, I'm telling you, man. Yo, you can't make this stuff up, man. You can't
really
make this stuff up, man.
You really can't. You can't. We hear it. You cannot. You cannot. You can't.
You spend all this time. Listen, and I want to be clear about this, MOT. These guys have been in the manosphere since Obama's last term.
Yes.
His last, tribe.
I came here in 2012, and this month would be probably 14 years, but I definitely started on panels at least 15 years ago at this point. No, 13 years at this point. Yeah, but when I was just a regular chat dude, and it's like these people have been here since Obama's last administration. All these people have. Most of these people in this space have been here that long.
Yeah, so they've been here since Obama's last term, Trump's first term, Biden's one term, and then Trump's second term. Still don't understand how the system works. How is this possible, man? To be here this long and not have a basic understanding of civics and government. That's telling, right? Replaying somebody else's content like David Schweiker or Chip Roy or C-SPAN for that matter, and not actually reading the legislation and not understanding how many votes are needed to pass a bill, or not understanding who voted on it, not understanding what the intellectual argument or what the political argument is against it, why Lisa Murkowski even got, her carve out, not understanding Susan Collins in Maine,
Collins. Yeah.
Susan Collins in Maine, what her legitimate argument was, right? Like, there's more to the conversation than playing Sabby Sabs, who's a divester, which is hilarious, right? For all this talk about, black women divesting and all this other stuff, you seem to sure follow right behind these divestors and then zoom right over to Caitlin Clark. Yo, man, what are we doing in the manosphere as black men? What are we doing? What's going on here? Right?
No, I mean, but they wanted
to. People talking about they don't take sides, but they get right behind Chip Roy and whatnot. It's crazy, man.
It's madness. That's
no side pick, but all his actual reference points are conservatives. But he's not a conservative, and he lives in a liberal state.
Make it make sense.
It's nuts that we have to keep this up.
But MOT, the Doge perspective is interesting too, because these same guys were getting behind Doge. Oh, Doge is finding all of this spending and whatnot. Oh, really? Why don't they put that on the government's website? Why they put it on Doge? It takes you right back to X. You know why they're not going to put it on there? Because you got to archive all that information. That means you have to actually be truthful in what you're saying.
That is exactly correct, and that's what these guys are against.
Yeah,
and they told you that they don't want to be fact checked.
Same thing with the missing documents, right? Trump had page 22 to like page 42 or something like that missing. Yeah, they cut it from the record for a reason. Whether it's in Mar-a-Lago or in Trump Tower somewhere, who knows? The point of the matter here is that stuff gets archived for a reason. And so when you go click on Doge and it takes you right back to X, yo, man, that ain't no government website, man. What are we doing here? Right?
Oh, boy.
Go ahead, Emily.
Crossfire.
Yes.
And they kept the Caitlin Clark update in their clip of 2.5 minutes.
Now do you see why I have that song in my head? But hurt blues.
Yes.
No matter who
I have been given intel and evidence, and now I understand why that song's in your damn head. I get it now.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter what you're talking about, they're always butt hurt.
Holy catfish. You cannot be. Come here. Kevin, please.
God damn it. You can't make this shit up.
I need your version of What in the Blue Hell, please. Please, pretty please, with sugar on it.
Oh, the Iron Bang Blue Hell. Hold on, give me a second.
I need your version of what.
Dude, these are just unsupervised niggas online. That's what it is. Just unsupervised. I mean,
that's what this is.
Unsupervised. It's kind of like a kid playing with matches by the curtains. Like, this shit ain't about to end well, and they just let these dumb niggas just internet the fuck up, man. This shit crazy.
But in all types of
what
blue
in
hell.
the all types of blue hell?
Why does Cynthia G need to be played in the middle of their Caitlin Clark coverage, in the middle of their political commentary?
Caitlin Clark's groin injury is equally as important as a big spending bill.
Oh
God.
I mean, think about the ramifications to this, man. See, he doesn't talk about the amount of money that was spent on Homeland Security. Okay?
No.
Not at all.
Because you and I know that Homeland Security doesn't need all that money.
Hell no, they don't. Unless that money's going to be flushed down the memory hole and you ain't going to never see that shit.
Or unless they're going to subcontract that work to Eric Prince in Blackwater and some of
Yes,
these
they
other
are.
paramilitary organizations, which would explain why you see so many ICE officers, or what's supposed to be ICE officers, with their faces wrapped up looking like the Taliban, the white Taliban.
And no badges on them or anything. These guys just coming out like a ghost army.
Yeah. They're not covering that though, you know, because I don't see any black ICE officers. I haven't seen any.
I haven't. I think I saw one. They had one. They had one ICE officer, and some Latinas were actually cursing and calling him a nigger.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that one. But I'm
Yeah.
saying the overarching perspective of ICE arrests are being done by people who are masked up and nobody knows who they are.
That's
now,
exactly correct.
Biden was actually deporting a lot more people under his administration than what Trump is doing right now, but that doesn't get any coverage, right?
And Obama was doing more than them both.
Yeah.
But none of that gets talked about.
Right. But it's the Democrats' fault for all of this, right? Somehow it's magically the Democrats' fault. And I'm not even a registered Democrat. I'm just saying that these guys are really pushing this narrative that everything that's wrong in this society is because of Democrats, and everything that's right is because Republicans, right? But if you look at all the Republican-controlled states, especially places like Indiana, they failed to make the report card. I think the last time there was an infrastructure report that went out a few years ago, I think this was under the Biden administration, the majority of your conservative states failed. They were failures.
You think that was going to pass anything? We're talking about conservative states here, man. We're talking about competition, man. They're not even.
Their budgets, their state budgets, they're just shortfalls. You're looking at some to the lower 20, but most of them 30, 35, some even above that are being being subsidized. Of the state budgets, 35%, 40%, their state budgets being subsidized.
Well, I mentioned that because the way the manosphere spins it is as if the system was run better, if the system was run by Republicans, things would just work so much better. But we already see example after example of Republican states that can't make the grade themselves. So how is it possible that you think that if California was run by Republicans, it would be run so much better? There's no examples of this anywhere in the country.
Nowhere.
I don't
Nowhere.
There's no example. I mean, these are welfare states. Nobody wants to call it out, but these are welfare states.
Yeah,
they're welfare states.
Yeah, and same thing with AB Media, for example, right? He's 40 now. I think he's a millennial. If he's been voting since he was 18 in the state of Indiana, that means he's been voting the last, let's say, 4 administrations have all been conservative in his state.
Yeah.
So who are the Democrats that you're blaming?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Mike Pence was the governor for 2 terms.
And Greg Pence was also a congressperson. Still is a congressperson there.
Was he not the governor too? Oh no.
No.
Okay.
No, Mike Pence, governor. Greg Pence, always a congressperson, different part of the state.
And Mike Pence's lieutenant governor also sat for 2 terms too, if I remember correctly. So
Yes.
You've had conservative leadership in Indiana for the last 2 or 3 administrations. How do you blame Democrats for the state of being in Indiana when there have been conservatives in control of the state for the duration of the manosphere? How's that possible?
But when you ask clowns like this that type of question, they have no answer for it. That's why I say just leave them there. Don't come over here talking smack, because you can't answer any questions, and don't get on the panel because you know what's going to happen to you. Mm-hmm. So sit there and talk the craziness you're talking from that standpoint, Mike. But they have no points to stand on. None. It's all sitting right there in front of you. You can't argue this.
Yeah.
We're
just saying it cannot be argued. But
I mean, but these are the individuals here who need the most help, man. And this is what it is.
Now, I mean, California has the strongest economy in the country. and it's run by Democrats. But the
And they
argument
can
here
afford
is
to
that,
pay for stuff too. They can afford to pay for stuff too.
yeah, but the
For
argument
everybody
here
else.
is that Democrat-run states just run poorly. Have you looked at your nearest conservative-controlled state? Have you looked at Arkansas? Have you looked at Mississippi? Have you looked at Alabama? Have you looked at these places? I don't know where they're, I don't see how they make their argument, politically speaking, right? Because there's no evidence to support anything that they're talking about, right? I mean, I saw him in the chat room earlier talking about the DNC spent something like $20 million trying to research whatever that was. We don't even know if this is true or not. Okay. Same thing with Lindsay Lee, right? Or Lindsay Lou, whatever her name is, who was one of the former donor raisers for PAC raisers for the DNC. Okay. She only raised $1 million for Biden. It took her a year to do that. Okay. Black men raised $1 million in about an hour or 90 minutes
on a phone call
on Win with Black Men. Okay. And then they redistributed the money to other nonprofit Black male groups and organizations. I think like 1/3 of it or something like that. Right. You don't hear them actually going into the detail of all of that. Right. Lindsay Lee or Lindsay Lou, or whatever her name is not this credible person that they think she is. They take everything she say as biblical, right, or at the value of the Bible itself, right? That is somehow testimony to the incompetency of Democrats. But it was Eric Bolin who exposed her on Piers Morgan. Okay, that's why you don't see her around anymore. He completely blew up her clout, or what little clout she had. That's why you don't hear from her anymore. There's no value in talking to her because she was a fraud to begin with. But the manosphere ran behind this. That's why I call them low information voters. Okay. No facts, no substance, all memes and sound bites. That's it. It's not a disrespectful term. It's a specific term for a specific demographic of people that happens to be true in this space.
Yeah. I mean, but the problem here is that of all this time that they've been here, they can't even defend the stuff when they're in charge. So the whole point of them trying to get these people who are in charge was to hurt everybody else in the country, but they're hurt with it. It's kind of like the whole point of moving these people from first class to coach is for them dudes to cut off the real stabilizer of the airplane.
You haven't heard anything from Byron Donalds. You
haven't heard anything from nobody.
You haven't heard anything from Wesley Hunt, or unless you want to look on Bill Maher. He's up there buck dancing up there with Bill Maher. This guy wants to get rid of Juneteenth. A black man in Texas wants to get rid of Juneteenth when it was Texas that passed Juneteenth.
It's exactly right.
Mind-boggling to hear these guys talk as if they're somehow intellectually, so sophisticated. You're about as sophisticated as an eggplant. I don't know where you're getting this from. No one's talking about John James in Michigan. He's running for governor. You think Trump's backing him? I don't think so.
It's hard because this stuff is so easy to actually figure out if you actually care about it. Thing is, they just don't even care about it. They just want to talk at it. It's like, okay, we got some time to fill, troll. That's all they got. Not being taken seriously. That's all they have. It's crazy. But let's see what else that could possibly register as common sense that we're going to hear. I doubt it, but let's keep going.
Motherfuckers that iron
the Bang Yang version of Blue Hill. Not the Bang.
The Bang. Fuck you. No, I can't.
Yeah, I gotta finish Andor too.
Yeah, I think I've only watched one episode of Andor.
Oh, the second season? Okay.
Yeah, second season.
Not behind the scenes with the Empire, you see how it really operates behind the scenes.
Yeah, basically the people on the ground, because the Star Wars starts after. Okay.
God, let's go to the 2-hour 14-minute can't bear listening to immigration. It's all you from Europe.
Yeah, that's their big thing. They just want white people. No, they don't.
The conservatives are not okay with immigration if you come from a Spanish-speaking country. like Haiti. Like Haitians don't get the
Haitians
same
don't
freedom when it
speak
comes to
Spanish.
immigration. When it comes to what, nigga? Haitians don't speak Spanish.
They speak Creole, but there are a lot of Haitians who can speak Spanish.
Many
Yes.
Haitians, Haitians speak
Yes.
Spanish. They go over there back and forth for work, and that's been true since deeply since the Trujillo days. But these guys have no idea, and he's just talking out the sides of his crack.
It's not the national language, but they have the ability to interpret and speak Spanish. That's a very
most people that I've met in Colorado who are dark skinned and they're from Haiti, they speak Spanish. I'm gonna say about 90% of them.
And remember, French and Spanish are both Romance languages, and when you break it down to learn how those languages, both they have a great degree of similarity in them. But anyway, you go beyond the point here with these guys.
Like a combination of French and something else.
No, they speak English.
Remember what we just said, that was specific. Let's hear the dumb niggas tell you about Haiti.
It's a combination of French and English.
Okay.
It's Creole.
Canadian, the United States. Why? Conservatives believe in a tiered justice system. They've always believed in a tiered justice system. They've always believed that. Okay? So what we're going to do, I have ChatGPT on the screen here.
Okay.
What? I'm showing you how to fucking get actual information. What is this something to laugh at?
No.
So
Getting real information for them is funny.
Is we're going to ask a very simple question. How many times? Wait, hold on. Let me make the screen bigger so that way you can see just how simple this is to solve. Okay, so what we're going to do, that's a simple question. How many Supreme Court decisions challenged birthright citizenship?
By the way, y'all, I got how many I got watching? I got 95 watching. Like, share, subscribe, hit my Cash App, support the show. Entertainment tax is in effect.
What is he trying to prove?
And we're about to get an answer.
That he's pretty much trying to prove, and they're going to cry about him. And I call him the old fool in the gone. They're going to cry about the legal immigrants have a right to stay over here.
What?
Okay, so now you're playing so stupid that you don't understand. I'm basically proving how simple it is to solve this black ignorance problem that you keep tending to have on a very specific subject. So I went to ChatGPT, OpenAI, open it up, and asked a simple question about fucking immigration to show you just how simple it is to get an answer about this immigration shit that you didn't bother looking up, that you didn't bother researching, but you just talked about it Nigmore style.
What's he talking?
All right, so now we have an answer. Go, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, all right. All right, so now we have an answer, and I'm going to scroll down so that way you can see the answer. Hold on, let me take this down, remove, add to stage, no, remove. Presenter invite.
You just skip past it.
Come on, Quincy Prince. Come on, Keith Smith. The most important case is the very first case. United States versus Wong Kim Ark. Don't know, the name sounds pretty Chinese because it is. And in that case, the landmark decision, and still the controlling decision until yesterday, the court held that the 14th Amendment guarantees citizenship virtually to everyone born in the U.S. soil, regardless of parents, nationalities, with narrow exceptions like children of foreign diplomat or enemy occupation forces. Wong Kim Ark was born in San Francisco, Chinese nationals. He returned from a trip abroad. He was denied re-entry, and the case went to the Supreme Court. The court ruled 6-2. Pretty straightforward, correct? You know, wouldn't you say that's pretty straightforward?
That is correct. Very straightforward.
Okay, so how the fuck are you agreeing? Because remember, BGS acted like this shit wasn't the case. And it was never the case. And this shit was always up in the air. No, it was pretty settled law back in the 1800s. Conservatives kept bringing this stuff back up every single time. It was conservative groups who were suing for this. It's conservative groups who did that and said this. It's conservative groups who didn't understand the Constitution, who wanted to keep reinterpreting it because they wanted to leave people out of the conversation. That was my point. The opposite of that point is this shit has never been solved ever. That's BGS's point. My point is just simply saying that this stuff has already been solved. I know, but the conservatives are the ones who actually represent these cases. Okay? It's pretty clear. 1898. Any person born in the United States can stay here. And you can see the guy was clearly a Chinese national. Okay? Not hard to understand. In every other case subsequent to that, conservatives kept wanting to get rid of birthright citizenship or have the ability to limit birthright citizenship to whoever they wanted to challenge it for, which is what the Trump case was about. Because it wasn't about overturning it all the way. It was about selectively getting rid of birthright citizenship for some people and not others.
Which people trying to eliminate?
Anyone born here gets to stay here. That includes people who are born on military installations overseas, embassies overseas. Same thing.
What?
Remember, this was never a question. But for some reason, the conservatives want to actually limit birthright citizenship to whoever they want to. Because like I said, conservatives believe in a tiered justice system. They don't really care.
What is the reason that they want to limit it?
Because they want more fucking, and they only want to give citizenship to whoever they want to give citizenship to. BGS. You can't play this fucking dumb. Like, come on, dude. You can't be this dumb.
This fool knows that, but he's just trying to play to his crowd. He knows exactly what these guys are doing, and they've even said it. We want more white. Trump has said it himself. We want more white immigrants coming in here.
He wanted Norwegians to come here, and the Norwegians was like, why would we come to America when we have
That's exactly correct.
From a socialist country, a democrat socialist country.
Like, why the fuck would we come over there?
Yeah, well, we have good healthcare coverage. We have a functional system, a functional political system. Why would we come there? That was the response that they gave him in 2019 or 2018 when he put that out there. So that's the whole purpose of what they're trying to challenge right now is who they want to bring here. Because you don't see the argument against Ukrainians who came here during the conflict with Russia. They don't have that problem with them. They only have that problem with everybody who's below the Mason-Dixon line.
That's the issue, and they know it, and he knows it as well. But he's sitting there trying to play it.
When was the last time they just went after Canadians and just started deporting them from the country? When did that happen?
You see what the Canadians are saying? Canadians are not trying to come down here like that. They're not trying to come down here.
No, they're selling their property as we speak right now, since they own a lot of retirement homes in Florida and South Carolina.
I think that was MOT9 when we talked about that earlier today. I think that was we mentioned that today. So we definitely were. But these idiots like you got these AB medias and these clowns. These guys that sit here and don't even look at this stuff. They don't even try to even
understand.
They don't even try to comprehend it. They have no comprehension.
And BGS is just playing dumb. Like, what I'm talking about is the birthright citizenship question has been not only answered but reaffirmed 10 times with the Supreme Court, with the exception of the last decision. It has been reaffirmed that many times. So let's keep going.
You haven't said it. What's the reason? I can't believe these people are this dumb.
That's so clear. That's
going to get done.
So clear. Let's go to this situation right here in the Hill. So if it was so clear, how did this end up happening? Correct? Because remember, John McCain was born, I think, in Panama, wasn't it? He was born in Panama. And they tried that stuff with him.
No, they didn't.
So, you have to remember. Yes, they did. When he first ran for president and he started winning, they did pull that shit with John McCain.
They tried the same thing with Mitt Romney as well.
Yes, they did.
They sure did.
We're talking about Republican primaries here. We're not talking about general election. We're talking about Republican primaries. So how did this end up happening? U.S. Army soldier's son, born on Army base in Germany, is deported to Jamaica. If it was so clear, why did this person's son, born on U.S. property abroad, got deported to a country he has no identity to?
Okay, well, so why did he get deported?
How did that end up happening, If it was such Why the fuck is he asking questions when I just already laid out the point? He got deported because they wanted him fucking out the country. They knew he was born on a military installation, and they still wanted him the fuck out the country. The point was, these people already had status, and it was never under question until they made it under question. That's the point here. Straightforward.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Because remember, the case is pretty clear. Birthright citizenship is pretty clear. Trump is married to actual foreign women. What's going on here? Now, this is the Hill. This is not a left-wing newspaper by any stretch of the imagination. You had multitudes of Latino individuals who thought that, you know what, I'm just going to vote with power, and when they come for the bad immigrants, they're just going to go after certain people. They're not going to come after me. They're not going to come after me. Then all of a sudden, Trump got rid of legal status for people who was here. Got rid of it. Not through legislation. He just did it by decree through an executive order.
And
then he got the Supreme Court to back him up on it. Because right now, they're not legislating. They're just making up executive orders. And the Supreme Court is coming through and just giving him the right to do whatever it is that he wants to do. Now, with the recent Supreme Court.
Okay, I'm just going to skip ahead because, you're just crying.
No, that's a specific point. Nah, nigga, what you want to run from? I just said exactly what they're doing. The Republicans are now legislating.
Unreal.
And the actual people are just doing it by decree. And he said before that, justice system. They don't really care.
What is the reason that they want to limit it? You haven't said it. What's the reason?
Like, every media said that he don't care. He didn't care. That he was doing it by decree. Like, he didn't care.
Well, what do you expect? What do you expect to hear from that guy?
Yeah, I know. Cyclops, man. I'm not sure what I expected from Cyclops, but
not much.
But that's where we at, man. It's just that, listen, y'all want the space to be peaceful, but you don't want to actually lay down some hard rules. All the people who are actually trying to use the manosphere for the means of just privatizing it and doing things, it's just crazy, man. Like, I don't understand it. You come here to a space that was meant to help men, and then you turn around and do something that it wasn't meant to be for. Like, it now became a space for what's on the screen. Uninformed, dumb as shit, don't know what's going on. Yeah, man, just come up here. Come up here and hang out with us. Team Misinformation. We have a spot for you on our team.
Play the last 90 seconds.
Oh, there's more of this nonsense? Okay, all right, hold on a second. Coliseum. So clear. Let's go to this situation right here in the Hill.
Stream last week.
Mm-hmm. I look at these people, and
that's not what the 14th Amendment was about. That's not what this case was about at all. See, they want to draw an actual wall garden around black people and black people only, but there's other people that the actual thing expands for. That's what this is about.
No, they were quite clear.
They're quite clear about it, yeah.
At the time, they were quite clear about it. But the actual situation goes to other groups of people. The same circumstance happened with other people, like the Chinese guy who was born here, traveled abroad, came back, was trying to be denied port of entry back into the United States. That's why this case had to be. Because they tried to reinterpret it on the fly just for this dude. That's what the case was about. If it was clearly understood and the dude never left, he would have never had his citizenship challenged at all. But they found a loophole to which they can try to challenge it, and the court upheld it. That's all it is. It's really not that difficult. But when you are hell-bent on misunderstanding simple things, that this is what you run into.
I was listening to an attorney, and if you go back and look at the actual record. They were quite clear. They were quite clear what the 14th Amendment was for. They were very clear.
God, dude. The 14th Amendment, when it became the 14th Amendment, the conservatives was trying to kick our black asses out the country after our labor had been done for the free. The 14th Amendment naturalized all of us in staying in the United States, by the way. That was that case. So anybody born in the United States got to stay in the United States. And that was pretty clear until that Chinese guy got born in the United States. He left, he came back. That's when his citizenship was challenged. Like, none of this stuff is that hard to get. It's very simple, but unless your whole point is deliberately misunderstanding the topic and subject and just want to stop the rights of black people, I don't want none of these people on my team, man. You don't understand the country. You don't understand anything. The Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights did not apply to us. There had to be civil rights legislation when we're already citizens of the fucking country already. Why? We wasn't included in the Bill of Rights. We wasn't included. They had to come out with additional shit to cover us from these same so-called conservatives. Dude, none of this stuff is that hard. The point is, most people's contention with politics is they didn't get everything that they wanted out of the Democratic Party, so they want to go on this liberal kicking spree until we just finish all the work for them, so that way they could just ride off into the sunset. Man, fuck these people. They're not a part of the process. They don't know anything about the history. They hang out in dumbass places like this. Don't even bother talking to these people about anything. Unbelievable. So, Mike, you got any more clips, or this is it?
No, that was it. I think it was just like 90 seconds left. That was it.
No, I doubt he's gonna make any sense. So, go. You got anything else before we get up out of here?
MOT, great stream. Good stuff that was laid out here, and really appreciate you having me on. All right. So I'll see you later, and Mike, I'll see you later as well.
All right. Nagone. All right, Nagone. Now let's get to the part that I want to play here. You know what I'm about to play, right?
Let it rip.
Let it rip. Sorry, folks, but you know what I'm about to play.
Let it rip.
This is BGS trying to protect AB Media, but it ain't gonna work.
Away from him! Take a break while I focus on the boy. We're not done yet. You feel your body starting to rip. First, your muscles tear. Then your vertebrae, they separate. If you're able to focus through the pain, it's your skin next. Pulled to its breaking point, just as it starts to rip. This is going to be amazing.
Stay out of grown folks' business, AB Media.
Oh,
BGS, take a break while I focus on the boy.
Oh, Lord. MOT, good night. Oh, good night. Good night.
Stupid ninja, please keep my name out your mouth. Please keep my name out your mouth. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for coming through on the Man Tomorrow. You guys have a really nice night. Peace.